as we begin, I'd like to start with a few definitions that are going to help us as we move through this topic today. And of course, we want to define trust. I think there are many misconceptions out there. A lot of people think that trust is an emotion, but it is not. I know in our vernacular, we usually say, I feel like I can trust him. I feel like I can't trust her. But trust is not really an emotion. Trust is more of a cognitive part. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. The other misconception is that trust is different from relying on someone. When we often use the word trust, we're maybe saying I can depend on them, I can lean on them, but that's really relying on someone. Reliance is the idea of leaning on a person or putting your confidence in them. And that's more of an emotional thing, that I can put my confidence in them. Trust is the ability that I have of a person to behave in the way that I expect them to behave. So that's more so of a cognitive. It's more so how we perceive this person. So here it is. Here's our definition of trust. Trust is a mental picture that you have of someone and how you perceive them. It's the cognitive part. It's a mixture of our association of a person, our stereotype of a person, and our ideal of a person. And so I want to go through each of those things to kind of help you understand how we make up this mental picture. So an association is how we connect this person. Do we connect this person with someone else that we know? Do we connect this person because we met them in a certain place? We are making an association, putting things together to help us determine if we can trust them, if we have a mental picture of them. And then there's a stereotype. After we learn a little bit more about a person, we may say, oh, well, they have this certain type of job, and everybody that I know that has this job behaves this way or talks this way. They live on this side of town, or they drive this, or they were born in this decade. And so we start to make a stereotype about the other people that we know that live on this side of town, drive this type of car, were born in this decade. And we mix that in the bowl along with our association. Lastly, what we put in there is our ideal. So we've met this person in the capacity of hopes that they would be a companion. Maybe we've met this person, they're our spouse. And so we have this ideal of who they are going to be to us. This is our hopes and our dreams of who they will be. So we mix together this association, this stereotype, this ideal, and we form what we call this mental image or this mental picture of someone. So we do this every single day, and that helps us determine if we can trust them. We're always measuring this mental picture against our experiences with them. So even from the simplest as choosing a hairstylist or a car salesman, or even someone to cut our yard, we are thinking of, how do I know them? Did someone give me this referral? Is there an association with them? And then it's a stereotype. Well, they are a celebrity hairstylist, so we're thinking that they're the best of the best. And then here's this ideal of them. We desire for them to do a very good job on our hair or sell us the very best car or cut our yard in the very best way. So we're hoping that this comes about. And so we all do this. We're all building trust and learning to build trust every single day. What I want to teach you today is that what you're actually doing, I want you to be more intentional about it, more alert about it, and that you can work with your mental picture to maybe avoid some pitfalls and some disappointments that we often have when we are talking about trusting. There are two groups today. Everybody, there's something here for everybody, but I want to put us into two groups. I believe today we are either here because we are building trust or we are regaining trust. So everyone has a part to do in trust. Everyone has a part to play and something to do. As the builder of trust, you are keeping your eyes open. You are looking for empirical evidence. You are becoming a scientist, an investigator, whichever one rubs you a little easier as you are learning this person and learning more about this person. You're going to keep your eyes wide open. You're going to keep your head before your heart as you are learning to build trust. As a regainer of trust, you are doing the work. You're going to provide this empirical evidence. You're going to provide these clues, whichever one rubs you the best way, to allow this person that you care so much for to give them the mental picture that you can trust me. I'm going to behave the way in which you think I'm going to behave. And I hope that when you trust me, you then can rely on me, that you can have a cognitive part, but also an emotional connection to me again. So as Ms. Catherine has mentioned, I want to throw out again, we've already talked about who trusts, who does this. We all do this every single day. And then we talked about what exactly is trust. If you have any questions about that, I want to encourage you to use the Zoom chat function and jot down your questions and go ahead and send them over. If you are listening by phone, please text your questions to 770-242-0001. Again, that's 770-242-0001. So now we're going to talk about how to build trust. We've defined it, and now we're going to talk about how do I build trust. So we split ourselves into two groups, the builders and the regainers. So the builders, here's your part. Everything's important, but this one's especially for you. How do I build trust? Well, we talked about that mental picture, that association that you put in the bowl, the stereotype that you put in the bowl, and the ideal that you have of a person. You put all of that in the bowl and it creates this mental picture. Now with this mental picture, you have what we call expectations. Big words, everybody uses them all the time. You didn't meet my expectations. I didn't know your expectations. And unmet expectations oftentimes lead to disappointment and resentment. But in order to try to avoid those things, here's what we do. We take that mental picture and then we have an experience with the person, whether we're meeting them, talking to them, whether we are, they're selling us something, we have some type of experience or encounter with the person. And after that experience, we alter our expectation, or maybe we keep it the same. Maybe they did more than what we thought they were going to do. Maybe they did a little less. And then what we do is we create a new mental picture. This is how you avoid pitfalls. What we often don't do is we have this mental picture, we have this experience, but we fail to alter our expectations of a person, which oftentimes leads to disappointment and resentment. So if we are building trust, we are taking our mental picture. This is your action step. This is what we talked about when everybody has a part to do. This is how you are taking what you already are doing and being more intentional about it. So I have this picture, I have this experience, and now I'm going to alter my expectations or alter my mental picture based on the experience that I had with this person to create a new mental picture. So here's an example. I'm going to give two examples because we talked about there are some that are building relationships and there are some that are in established relationships. So we're going to take this trust wheel, how do I build trust? And I'm going to give you an example both in those groups, new relationships, established relationships. New relationship, you're going out on a blind date. So you have your association. Someone you know introduced you to this person. Now, this person might be of a profession that you're familiar with. Maybe this person is a teacher, let's say that. And so now you have a stereotype of what a teacher is like. And then you have this ideal. You're going on a date because you're hoping to make a match. You're hoping to be able to make a connection. So you're hoping and dreaming that this turns out nice. So we have this mental picture of our association, our stereotypes, and our ideals. Then we have an experience. This teacher, would you believe it or not, showed up late? Oh my goodness. Teachers have to be to work very early. They have to keep the kids in time. And you would think this person may not be so late. So here we are. We have this mental picture of this teacher, probably going to be a great person, probably going to be on time. The experience is they showed up late. So now we change our expectations. They are still a teacher. It doesn't stop them from being a teacher. But now we understand maybe this person isn't as time conscious as I thought they were. Do I not go on a date with them? I don't know. If that's important to you, then that's on your list. But for me, maybe I'll give them another chance. However, because of my mental picture, I'm going to ask this person, what time are you going to be here? It's very important that you be here at this time. I've prepared myself to be here at this time. It would be courteous of you to be here at this time as well. And we are going to then again go on date 2. And we're going to have another experience and alter our expectations. Maybe it goes up this time. Maybe they met that need. But I want to show you how this is an everyday thing that we do, but we have to be intentional. We have to slow the process down. We have to keep our head before our heart. We have to think of it cognitively before we think of it emotionally so that we can actually build trust. Here is our example for those in established relationships. Maybe you have been dating for a few years, maybe you're even married. And here we are, we have a situation of our mental picture, our association. This is someone that I have known for a very long time. The stereotype of this person, I know what they do, I know who they are, I know how they behave. And then here's my ideal. I want to have a long-lasting relationship with this person. I have this mental picture. Then I have this experience. This person has committed infidelity. This person has cheated on me. Now, what do I do with this mental picture, with this experience? I take what I thought they would never do this to me. I had this experience. I had this encounter. They did this to me. It is up to me to slow this process down and begin to change my expectations of this person, to change my mental picture. They might still be good with money. They might still be a great parent. They might still be a hard worker, but I have to change my mental picture and say, this person was capable of doing this act. This person was capable of performing or behaving in this way. Now, what I want to do with that, some people may jump off the trust wheel. Some people may stay on the trust wheel. It's really up to you. Your only responsibility is to say, what am I going to do with this new experience that I have? How can I now see this person clearly with the behavior that they have shown me? How am I going to take this empirical evidence and create a new mental picture about who this person is? So the key to building relationships, my number one group, those who are building, the key to building trust is to keep your head before your heart, to keep it cognitive, to keep it empirical, to be a scientist, to be an investigator before I give my heart completely. That's a lot of information. If you have any questions about it, I want to encourage you to use the Zoom chat function and write that question down. Send it over to Ms. Catherine, and she will definitely read over it and prepare it. If you are not on Zoom video but are on Zoom by audio, I want to encourage you to text your questions on how to build trust to 770-242-0001. All right, so now we talked about that first group. How do I build trust? Here's our second group. How do I regain trust? These are for individuals who've been in established relationships who may have even acted out of character for themselves. Perhaps they shared a lie. Perhaps they were engaged in infidelity. Perhaps they hid some money. Perhaps they did something that was offensive to the one that they loved. And they don't want to leave this relationship, but in fact, they want to repair this relationship. It's a two-way street. So the person who you are asking to build trust, they have something to do. I just gave it to them. They're building trust. They're putting you on that trust wheel. And now that you know that you are aware of that, here's your part on this two-way street of how to build trust. 4 things you have to do in order to regain trust. 4 things. I'm going to list them off, and then I'm going to go through them individually. The first thing is we have to gain insight. We have to acknowledge that I have broken someone's trust, that I have changed their mental picture of who I am, that they no longer see me that way. And if you're sorry about that, then you have to acknowledge the offense and you have to apologize for the offense. The second thing you're going to do is to gain new information. You're going to have insight to the offense. You're going to gain new information. You're going to have an effort to correct the offense that you've done. And then you're going to put in time and practice in order to help them have repeated experiences with you that are going to change the way in which that they see you. So this insight, the person usually has to tell you, or maybe your own moral code said this wasn't right. So we go and we acknowledge this offense and we say that this isn't right. This isn't how I want to behave. And I don't want to do this anymore. Then we're going to gain new information of how to behave. I need to figure out why I lied. I need to figure out why is it that I needed multiple partners. I need to figure out why is it that I felt necessary to hide money. I'm going to get information from my partner as to what they'd like to see me do, but then also other information from other resources, be it a counselor if need be it a pastor if need be, other information about, when I'm in certain tempting situations, how can I do something different? Others who have gone through this, what have they done differently? I'm going to gain new information. Then that information that I've gained from both my partner and other resources, I'm going to put an intentional effort to put that into my everyday life, to show my partner that I'm trying to do something different. to change what it is that they think about me. And then I'm going to do this over time and practice. So I'm not going to just be on this trust wheel and gaining new information and putting in the effort for 2 weeks or 30 days. I got to give it at least 90 days. Some of us, I got to give it 18 months if we're talking about infidelity. That's as long as it takes generally to aid and to rebuild trust in the case of infidelity. So very quickly, I want to use those same 2 examples and talk about how to regain trust. So if I'm on a blind date and I'm late, remember that guy, that teacher that's late, he's going to gain insight. The person told him, hey, you were late. I'm sorry, but I'm going to gain information. Well, how soon should I come? How far do they live? I'm going to track out things to make me be on time. And I'm going to put forth an effort to continually be on time because I understand how important it is to the person that I'm trying to build trust with. That spouse that created infidelity, I'm going to acknowledge that that's not the way I want to behave. I'm going to gain new information of what my spouse wants to see, maybe see a counselor or pastor. I'm going to put in the effort and the time in order to change my spouse's mental picture of who they perceive me to be at the current moment. So those 2 groups, how to build trust using the trust wheel, how to regain trust using those 4 keys to regaining trust: insight, new information, effort, time, and practice. Once again, if you have any questions, please use the Zoom chat feature, or you can text your questions to 770-242-0001. At the conclusion, I want to thank you all for your attention. I hope that you're able to take something away from the topic today. Again, if you're building trust, your key is to keep your head before your heart. And if you are trying to regain trust, I want to encourage you, it is hard work, but do the work.